Hello everybody, welcome to WhatCulture Gaming. I'm Scott and welcome back to another episode of Scottadays, the show name that I was given to commandeer your Saturday and have a conversation about how certain things should have been done. Now, we don't have a name for the granularity of this, but I've already tackled how Capcom should have handled Resident Evil 3's Nemesis, how Sony should have handled the reveal of the PlayStation 5. Yes, I totally do class a handful of bits in, the logo and mentions of a hardware breakdown as revealing for you in the comments. And this week, I just want to dive into Mass Effect, because after watching that Unreal Engine 5 demo, the one that had the best rocks in gaming history left, right, and center, that just made me think of everything that could be done in a sci-fi space. It reminded me of the Xbox One X's reveal, where they showed off some of the Mass Effect, what was new at the time, Mass Effect Andromeda's footage, and it was just like, oh my god, look at all this amazing lighting, look at this HDR, look at these particle effects, and all these different worlds that we can conjure up. And, at the time, before we knew that Mass Effect Andromeda was going to be a big old tire fire, it seemed pretty damn promising. Obviously, since then, both Mass Effect and Bioware have not had a very easy go, in terms of them being a developer. Mass Effect Andromeda and then Anthem is one of the worst follow-ups that you could have possibly done. But still, hope springs eternal for Mass Effect overall. And every single year when N7 Day rolls around, November 7th, there's still a ardent fan base there. There's still people looking for the next possible thing, the next possible entry into what I would say is gaming Star Trek. It's one of the best sci-fi franchises ever, and I think that it's a massive mistake to never do anything with it again. So first up, how can they bring Mass Effect back? Well, if you look at EA's financial reports, apparently they're working on something that they referred to as an EA HD project. Now this could be anything from Dead Space to SSX Tricky. Oh god, I would love SSX Tricky. But if you look on VentureBeat, they've already kind of half confirmed in that sort of, we're a games journalist and we know what we're talking about sort of way, that the EA HD project is apparently a Mass Effect Trilogy HD remake. Whether that's a full-on remake, the likes of Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Resident Evil 2, or whether it's just a texture pack upgrade, kind of more like, Prototype 2 or something like that, I would still take any Mass Effect in the current generation or on new systems whatsoever. I think you put that thing out as a trilogy just to remind the vast majority of people why the Mass Effect IP used to mean so much in the first place. I mean, Mass Effect 3 came out in 2012. There's people that have grown up, children, teenagers, that have no idea why Mass Effect was such a massive deal in the first place. And I just think that you need to get it back out there. Hopefully the EA HD project is that, and we can actually start to play Mass Effect 2 and 3 again. And to be honest, Mass Effect 3, if you add on all of that DLC, it's not that bad. That game suffered more from being hampered by marketing whims and taking essential storylines and characters and segmenting them off for DLC, rather than if you just take all of it as one go, the Mass Effect trilogy is still pretty damn good. So yeah, first off, think of N7 Day, think of every year, and EA, just get back to the drawing board and announce a Mass Effect HD trilogy. You've done that with Burnout, and it got all the way back to the top of the UK charts, proving that there is still value in those IPs. Put Mass Effect back out into the wild and just see how it goes. I kind of guarantee people will love it all over again. Onto how things can go next generation though, and like I said, looking at that Unreal Tech engine, looking at all that gorgeous lighting, rocks and everything else, I just think that you need to soft reboot Mass Effect. I don't think you can do anything with Shepard and all that sort of thing. I don't think you can do anything with the Riders anymore. For as much as Mass Effect Andromeda had the right idea in terms of, you take Shepard's tale over here and we branch it off over this way, we're going to do a whole different set of characters, different galaxy, and that just, gives us some breathing room to do something unique and special. They didn't do anything that was more worthwhile, and the only sci-fi visual that's associated with Andromeda comes from the very first planet, and it's just more floating rocks. It didn't really feel like anything in Andromeda was a worthwhile distinction from the original trilogy. For me, I would make a complete fresh start. Give the Mass Effect IP to a new team of developers, kind of like the Final Fantasy VII remake. Keep some of the key personnel on, let Casey Hudson be someone that you can go to as a consultant, like a Hideo Kojima on the side kind of guy, but give the main IP to a new team, to a youthful team that maybe grew up as fans of Mass Effect overall and have now joined Bioware. Because to be honest, most of the key personnel from Bioware have moved on to other projects. Casey Hudson left and came back. Original Mass Effect 2 writer Drew Karpyshyn position is now over at a different dev called Archetype. And he was out there saying that, working at Archetype reminds him of the early days of Bioware. He literally said that he can feel the magic in the air. And that's something that hasn't been associated with Bioware or Mass Effect in quite some time. Magic, genuine magic, genuinely feeling like you were looking into another universe altogether, something that was brimming with possibility. One of the best things about Mass Effect, one of the reasons that I champion it as sort of video game Star Trek, is literally because of the sheer variety on display, the amount of diversity across all the different alien races, the fact that you can just go to the Citadel and lose a couple of hours just talking to people, just having fun, getting lost in conversations and different side quests and things like that, things that make it feel like a real living, breathing, interconnected galaxy of races. That's one of the things that you can hold up. I don't think anyone else has done it quite so well since Mass Effect. And if they were going to lead with something that makes Mass Effect feel like the next generation version of itself, then double down on all those elements. I would totally just give the Mass Effect IP to a new team of developers, just see what they would come in with. If they grew up as fans and then joined Bioware later on, assumedly they would have some idea of where the story should go from the fan perspective, but maybe you also have some personnel on the dev side that can help them flesh that out. Ultimately, I just think Mass Effect needs a new lease on life. It needs to be something that comes along and reminds us of the first time that we saw the gameplay back before 2007, and I remember the first time we saw the dialogue trees, just seeing someone be able to interact with another NPC, improvising conversations on the fly. I know it might seem like the most rote thing in the world now, but being able to have a fully fledged live conversation with, an alien that looked like Rex was just genuinely incredible, and just felt like I can't wait to get in there and just see what happens and forge my own path through this universe with a custom character. Next up, another massive thing is gameplay. Obviously, over time, Mass Effect became more blockbuster, it became more action-focused. I would assume on behalf of EA, but you never know. I'd also have to assume that people inside Bioware wanted it to become bigger and more bombastic and more over the top, because Mass Effect 3 was just a full-on action cover shooter. It's weird if you go back to the original Mass Effect, throwing grenades is on the back button, and the vast majority of the things that you do in that game, hinge on conversations and interaction and exploration, whereas Mass Effect 2 and 3, and especially Andromeda, are full-on action games. If you read into the Kotaku deep dive on Mass Effect Andromeda, that team were literally told, forget about story and focus on multiplayer, which is pretty much anathema to why people care about Mass Effect in the first place. As far as I'm concerned, it needs to be conversation, interaction, dynamic exploration and things like that first and foremost, and combat and whatever. Those high-octane thrills need to be put to the back of the experience as much as possible. I will totally champion Mass Effect 2's combat, for me, as my personal favorite. I think it's just the tightest. I really like the feel of combat in that game. And those things are fine for side missions and just getting through and having fun with the game overall, but I want to be able to have those conversations. I want to get lost with a certain crew. I want to drink in a whole, gorgeous vistas of different planets and different ship designs and alien designs and things like that. It just needs to come back after this much time and land with a purpose all over again. Essentially, we want dialogue, options, and causality first, and gunplay and action second. Those two sides of the coin I feel flipped as the Mass Effect series rolled out, and I want to get back to that idea of you controlling your agency throughout the entire game. For me, Mass Effect was about the conversations and just talking and living in that space more than it was actually shooting aliens in the face. My overall takeaway here is that Mass Effect still matters. I think for as much as both Bioware and the Mass Effect IP have, had a pretty disastrous run across the last 7 to 8 years, there's something there that is immortally valuable. And whenever we cover Mass Effect on the website, or whenever we do a video on it on this channel, it still attracts so many different people. I think that even if EA only end up putting out an HD remaster, that would still be enough to rekindle the flames, to remind people why this IP matters and do something with it going forward. I want to see more Mass Effect, and I want to see a team with the budget of EA and hopefully the potential Bioware magic of a veteran team of developers take full advantage of something that looks as gorgeous as Unreal Engine 5 and the next generation of hardware. Hopefully it's been long enough that the sour taste of Mass Effect 3's ending and Mass Effect Andromeda overall has gone away. Whether it's aged out or whether it's just been long enough that we're actually welcoming of a new Mass Effect, I do want to believe that it is time for things to come around again next generation. So for now, that's been my thoughts on how Bioware should resurrect, bring back Mass Effect for the next generation. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. What would you do with the Mass Effect IP, and what would you pick and choose from the games gone by? Would you take anything from Andromeda going forward? Also, let me know which other topics you would like me to pick apart on another episode of Scott-A-Days. It's how X should Y. You can apply that to whatever you like. And for now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you soon.
Hello everyone, Rich here, your go-to for Doctor Who from WhatCulture.com, and... Wait. My thing that goes ding when there's stuff. What have you got? It's got something, I just need to... There, it's... I just need to amplify it. No. Fine. There it is. It's a whole channel dedicated to Doctor Who content. We have got Doctor Who lists, ups and downs, reviews of the most recent episodes of Doctor Who, and a brand new weekly rewatch podcast, and more to come. Now you see the Doctor thinks they're all good, building crap out of stuff. I mean, I can do it too. I found a whole channel with this thing. So if you have enjoyed previous Doctor Who content we've done and you're looking forward to more, then please do go and subscribe to Who Culture, part of the WhatCulture network of channels, and I am really excited to be a part of it. And if you want to be a part of it, why not drop us an email and tell us just what you are capable of. You can email us whoculture@whatculture.com. Please subscribe to the Who Culture YouTube channel if you haven't already. I'm super excited for this project to kick off. And again, if you want to be a part of it, please drop us an email. I'm Rich, and I'll see you very soon.